Hello, friends and family. This is what, day 5 check-in? Um, Today was amazing. Today was another amazing day. Absolutely brilliant. Um, so let's get right into it. I got up kind of early-ish, not super early, but fairly early. Um, got ready and got in the Jeep Patriot, the SUV. Um, it's not fun to drive. It's whatever. It is what it is. But I drove out to Mountain Pine Ridge today, um, and most of the drive there is like brand new paved roads. It's quite nice. The only tricky bits in the beginning are the town where, again, I do not like driving in the town here. The roads don't matter. People park wherever they want. They just pull right out in front of you. There's no right of way. The lanes don't matter. People will go the wrong way. They will come to a full stop in the middle of the lane instead of getting over. They will just park wherever. It's madness, but whatever. But then you have those lovely roads, highways, until all of a sudden you don't. So I got out to Mountain Pine Ridge, and man, I thought that the construction between here and Zenontenich was a little bit crazy. Holy, holy cow, the construction happening out in Mountain Pine Ridge is on a whole other level. First thing, I got to the check-in point for the Mountain Pine Ridge conservation area, national forest, whatever it's called. There's no one there. It's got a great big stop sign and everything. I stop, I look around. There's the booth where there's usually someone there. I was told you were supposed to, there's a fee to get in. There was no one there. And the gate thing was up, so I just drove right on in. I stopped, I waited, I looked around, I was like, okay, whatever. I drove on in. And yeah, the construction. Oh my golly, jeez. And it is not like we do road construction back home. It's not even close. I mean, you have like chunks and chunks of it where it's doing one thing and then they're doing something else, and then suddenly it's loose gravel, and then it's chip and seal in progress, and then they're dumping fresh rocks, and then it's the graders are coming out, and everywhere you go, I was expecting to see road closed signs or something. There's very, very little signage, and it's just figure it out, navigate it. You've got to figure out how to get around this stuff. Some of the construction guys will wave you through, they'll look. Some of them won't. They'll just look at you like, why aren't you going? Go this way. It's oof. It's something else. I've never, never in the States would you see something like that. This road, this whole park would have been closed for 5 years for them to build what they're working on now. It's madness. Or maybe it's the right way to do it. I don't know. That's certainly the Belizean way. So, so I'm going through that. The most intense time of that was actually after a guy waved me through. I'm going, and it's down to one lane because they're laying rocks, thick gravel. And the guy waves me through. I go, okay, thank you. And I start going. And there's the road grader coming right at me in the only lane. And the guy in the road grader is like, back up, man. Back up. I'm going. I can't turn this thing around. I was like, okay, then. So I had to reverse, I don't know, quarter mile, between an eighth and a quarter mile, uphill on a windy jungle road with about this much room in between the great big pile of gravel that the grader was going for and the drop off to the pit on the other side where they're doing the drainage. I had to reverse that to get back up to where the guy that waved me through was, and then he sort of shrugged and pointed at me for me to go the other side on top of all the gravel. Woo! I made it okay. They brought me the right vehicle for the job, but it sure is janky. Thing smells bad, and the 4-wheel drive switch is held together with JB Weld. There's more JB Weld than there is original switch on this thing. Makes weird noises. The check engine light is on. It's telling me that it needs an oil change. It's telling me that the gas cap isn't attached. It is, but I mean, whatever. Okay, at least I'm not gonna die if this one has a sudden failure. But yeah, so I took this thing way out there to get to Caracal, which is the largest Mayan site in the country and home to the largest building in the country, which is actually a Mayan pyramid that is just massive. I mean, this thing is massive. Very impressive. But yeah, whenever they're done with all that road work, that's going to be amazing. That's going to be a beautiful road to drive. The scenery will be phenomenal. The stops will be incredible. Like, that's going to be so cool when they're done with it. Right now, it's a bit hairy. But I finally get to Caracal, which is way out past Mountain Pine Ridge. But I finally get there, and it just looks like any other place. Just, well, I mean, any other place. It looks like all these other Mayan sites at first, and you're like, okay, this is like weird. I drove all the way out here, and then this is that. So I go up, I pay. This one was a little more expensive than the other two. Instead of 10 Belize, it was 15 Belize. Ooh, so that's $7.50 American to get in. Okay, whatever. But I go and I get parked, and I don't have it to myself. There's like a busload of kids and a couple of tour groups. It's crazy to me that through all that construction and everything, there's buses of small children out on their field trips. Amazing field trips, like dang. Wish my field trips were that cool when I was in the 3rd grade. We went to the freaking Dickerson Park Zoo and Bass Pro and ooh yay and whatever. But, I mean, they're going out, they're seeing it. But yeah, so we get there, and honestly, as huge as this place was, I may as well have been there by myself. The first little section, there were the tour groups and the kids, but I took my time and everyone went well ahead of me, so I had the place pretty much to myself. That massive pyramid, that massive temple. I mean, it's a mountain. It is a man-made mountain. It is a mountain. And you climb up the first set of stairs and you realize there are 3 more layers to climb up on this thing, and it's holy jeezy wheezy, so incredible. This one had a bunch of stelas out, and they had some of the tombs open, and it was like Cajalpech, where you could climb on whatever you wanted to climb on. Like there were like 2 things that had do not climb signs, and that was because they were obviously don't climb on that or it's gonna fall apart and you're gonna hurt yourself. But other than that, it's like no, you good. So it blew Zenantanech out of the water. It blew Cajalpech out of the water. Cajalpech again is much smaller, but it had that intimate, you can do what you want, it's here for you feeling to it. But Caracal, being there, having it to yourself, able to go at your own pace. I think everyone else was there with a guide, and I'm sure the guides have fantastic, amazing knowledge. But I'll be reading, books and stuff and figuring stuff out that way. I don't regret going by myself at all. It was so lovely. I met a guy up at the top of one of those things, and we chit-chatted quite a bit. He was a nice guy to talk to, and that was kind of fun. It's always fun to meet people and chit-chat and get to know them just a little bit and share some travel tips and experience. But yeah, so many pyramids to climb there. I mean, the big one was so big, I didn't feel like I was standing on a tall building. I felt like I was just standing on a mountain. And I don't like heights, but mountain heights are different than big building heights, and that might come from my intrinsic lack of trust in my fellow human beings. But it felt like I just felt like I was just on a mountain peak. It didn't feel like I was on the top of a tall building, which I absolutely was. It was absolutely man-made. It was massive. Just phenomenal. But yeah, the stelas, the carvings, the tombs, the pyramids, the temples, the whole complex, the ball courts, which those ball courts are actually way smaller than you think. Like, I've seen, the way that they're depicted and everything, those are much smaller, so the game makes a lot more sense. Whenever you think about, the game is played with, elbows and hips and knees and shoulders and stuff, you're not allowed to use your actual limbs. makes a lot more sense when you realize the playing space is, you know, a third the size of a tennis court, you know, a quarter the size of a tennis court. So that was cool to put in perspective. But yeah, I mean, you can really see, you know, how massive these sites were, how massive these structures were. And, you know, I've said it and I'll continue to say it, the amount of wood ash required to make the mortar and the plaster and stuff. I mean, the deforestation they must have done to build these things absolutely explains the agricultural collapse of the central Mayan region. Like, it's just right, it's right there. It all clicks. It all makes sense. There's good evidence for it. But the Maya never died out. The Olmecs did, but the Maya never did. They spread out. Which, fun fact, Maya is actually not the... Well, it depends on who you ask, but Maya means I don't know, and it's not the preferred nomenclature for some groups of Mayan people. They prefer to be called, I forget what it is, but you know, it's people of the corn, as opposed to Mayan, which means I don't know. Maya is just what they said to the Spanish because they didn't know how to explain themselves. But a lot of them still use Maya because it's what they know, and it's you know, it's the accepted vernacular, but it's not necessarily the preferred vernacular among some groups. Fun little tidbit. Anyway, moving on, back to Karakal. You know, I saw wildlife, I saw jungle, you know, mountain pine ridge, I saw the pine forests out here, which is incredible to see tropical pine forests. You know, I saw those birds, those pecky, what's up, buck birds, you know. I saw crazy bird nests. One of the guides was hollering at his group that he saw monkeys, but I really think he just wanted them to come down off the pyramid so they could keep moving. I didn't see any monkeys. Still haven't seen any monkeys. I've heard the howlers in the distance, and I saw the little, they're not actually monkeys, but the long tails, but I haven't seen any monkeys yet. Yeah, I mean, what is there to say about having a place like Karakal pretty much entirely to yourself? You know, I was able to go at my own speed, so eventually I really was the only person, you know, visiting it. You know, in some of the plazas, multiple large buildings, you know, I could just, no lines, no crowds, never had to wait for anything, do everything at my own pace. Phenomenal. Like, there's no way you get that experience anywhere else. I just can't fathom tourist attractions like this and having them to myself. It blows my mind. I'm so very blessed to be able to, you know, to experience this, being here now, despite the annoyances that have come with it. But that's not the only thing I did today. So after that, I went to Rio Frio Cave, which is one of the caves where the river just cuts right through the cave. It was amazing. Again, I had it entirely to myself except for a busload of kids. But they were only there for like 10 minutes before they got back on the bus and left. I can kind of understand you wouldn't want kids to be exploring that on their own. You know, they could fall in, they could get hurt, they could. I mean, there's a lot of potential for small children to injure themselves in this place. But for me, as a capable and grown man, it was amazing. I got to frolic on rocks and hop around and just really enjoy myself. And again, like I said, they left after like 10 minutes, so I had the whole cave to myself. You know, and you can climb on what you want to. It's just open, beautiful jungle vistas, the river flowing right through it. Bats, tons and tons of bats. I just don't know. You know, what do you say about something like that? Other than it's phenomenal, it's incredible. I took tons of pictures and videos. You know, I damn near burned my phone out. It got so overheated. And, you know, drained the battery. But I got a ton of photos and videos and 360s and stuff that I will be uploading. Man, that was just incredible. That was just incredible. And then after that, I went to Rio on Pools, which is, you know, part of the same river that goes through Rio Frio Cave. But these are these big granite pools with these cascading waterfalls that you can go and swim in. The water was really murky and not great looking, probably because of all the construction and the fact that they were just getting the first rains of the wet season, so everything was getting washed into the river. Not that I think, you know, it was like polluted with chemicals or, you know, chemicals. Oh no, it's just dirt and debris and mud and and that kind of stuff. But I still decided against a dip. Instead, I was just looking forward to the cold shower whenever I got back to the hotel. But yeah, that was great. I did some light bouldering. I didn't do any crazy bouldering since I'm by myself and I didn't want to risk it. Blah blah blah. You know, never climb alone. Okay, I was very safe. Wanted to do some hardcore bouldering. I saw some gorgeous ones I wanted to climb, but I didn't. But yeah, just absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, amazing, incredible scenery, and ridiculous, insane construction. You know, highs and lows, man, highs and lows, extreme highs, extreme lows. It's crazy. So yeah, after I wrapped up at Rio on pools, I thought about going to 1,000-Foot Falls, but I've heard the road out there is even worse. I've seen a lot of people comment about how the road to 1,000-Foot Falls might be the worst public road in the country and stuff like that, so I decided against it. And then I also wanted to go to Granite Falls, but that requires a hike through the riverbed, and the river was gross. So I really did not chase very many waterfalls. I only chased the waterfalls at the pools. So yeah. Womp womp. Did not chase the waterfalls I intended to on this trip. But hey, that just means that there's more to come back to next time. So yeah, this one's getting pretty long. So I'll be wrapping it up. But yeah, no, Caracol, beyond amazing. Absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. The construction, absolutely insane. Rio Frio Cave, phenomenal. Had a wonderful day. I think today I'm going to just have a pepperoni pizza from the resort kitchen. I think they over-westernize everything anyway, so may as well. But I'm very hungry because I just had granola and I had granola and a lot of water for lunch today, so I'm very hungry. But yeah, no, we're getting pretty long, so I'm going to wrap it up. Friends and family, I love you very much. I'm a little bit lonely, but it's okay. Wish you all were here with me, but it's okay. And I will see you all later. I'll check in again tomorrow. Love, love, love. Bye-bye.